Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope to earn your subscription today. For everyone that has subscribed recently, I really appreciate it. We had a pretty good conversation on our last video in the comments, and I noticed there was a lot of people that don't like Microsoft products. So one thing that I'm looking to do is find a free alternative for OneDrive, and Duplicati seems to fit that bill. Now, I'm not looking at their cloud version. I'm going to be backing up my files from my computer to an internal hard drive, a second hard drive inside of my computer. But this will work for an external hard drive as well. And if you're looking for an external hard drive, say you want like family photos that you want to back up, I will have two links in the description for two different types. One is a more budget friendly version. It's a little bit slower, but it is quite a bit cheaper. And then the second one is a lot faster, a lot more robust. I think it's even waterproof or water resistant. Take a look at both of those, decide if you want one. They are linked to my Amazon Associates account. If you don't want to buy one using that link, you can just search for it in Amazon and buy it, and you can follow along in the video. But we're going to go ahead and download Duplicati and see what it looks like. So this does run as essentially like a small web server on your computer. You will use it inside of the web browser. It'll pop up as its own tab, and it's a nice graphical interface to look at. It seems pretty user-friendly, so let's go ahead and install it. We'll click Next here. We'll accept the terms, sign over our life, and all of this is fine. We're just going to click Next. And you will need admin privileges to be able to install. Most people on their home computers will already have this, but if you're like in an office somewhere, you may have to ask an IT person to install Duplicati for you. So the user access control prompt popped up. I don't know if you could see that in the video, but I just clicked yes. And we're going to launch Duplicati now and click Finish. So when Duplicati opens, you'll see it pop up down here in the taskbar. All we need to do to get the user interface to pop up is right-click it and click Open. And you can see in here, I already had a test backup. If you're wondering how to delete backups, this is how you do it. This may or may not make the video, but we'll go ahead and delete that out of there. Okay, so this is a pretty simple interface. You can pause all of your backups. Like say your hard drive fills up, you can pause all of your scheduled tasks. You can limit your upload and download speeds. So if you're running backups during times where other people are using your internet, say they're watching Netflix or something like that, you can tell it to upload or download only at a specific speed so that it doesn't swamp your internet connection. I'm not going to do that though. My internet speeds are pretty quick and I don't have anyone at home right now using the internet. So we're going to come over here and click Add Backup. And this is where we start. We want to configure a new backup. We can export backups from this software and use them, say, like on another computer. But we're just going to do a new backup for now. We're going to name it. I'm going to name it Test Backup. You can see that I've already done that. You can add a description if you're doing multiple backups, meaning like you're backing up your file folders for photos, and then you have a separate backup for documents. You can add the descriptions there. The name is usually pretty telling though. You can just put pictures in here. And then there's an encryption area. Over here, it says that you can use standard protocols like FTP, SSH, and WebDAV to back up your files. That would be to back up to like another computer or a file server. We're not going to be doing that today, but if you are backing up to a file server, I would recommend turning on encryption unless you're the sole owner of that file server. It just allows you to put a password and encrypt your files so that other people can't just access them. But for this local backup that we're going to be doing today, we're going to choose no encryption and click Next. So the destination, this is where you want to save your backup to. I have a C drive like every other Windows user. You do not want to save stuff from your C drive to your C drive though, because if your hard drive fails, your backup will be gone. So we are going to save to my other internal drive. If you have an external drive plugged in, it'll show up just like this. Um, I've created a Duplicati folder. That's where we're going to save everything to. If you are using SSH or FTP to back your files up to a different computer, this is where you would put the username and password for the user on the destination computer. Once you've entered those, you can click test connection and it'll tell you if your username and password are correct. Because this is a local backup, meaning it's just saving to another hard drive in my computer, this test connection is always going to show successful, but it does have that option to kind of show you whether or not what you're entering is correct. Advanced options are there. We're going to skip those for now and click next. We are going to look for the source data. These are the files or folders that you want to back up. So if you want all your pictures to back up, you just click there and it'll do all of the files inside of my pictures folder. I have another file folder set up specifically for this though. It's called the backup files folder. If I do a drop down, it'll show that there's a text file, a BMP image file, and a PDF in there. We'll just go ahead and click the whole folder. It'll do the folder and the 3 files. You can add filters and you can exclude certain types of files like operating system files or files that are larger than a certain amount. So if we click on this here, you can tell it that if a file is bigger than 1 gigabyte, don't back it up. The reason for doing this is if you're running multiple backups, meaning, backing up one folder, but doing it multiple times a week, you don't want to fill up the destination hard drive. So you can skip bigger files if you want to. We're going to uncheck that though, put exclude back down and click next. So this is how you set up a schedule. I wouldn't recommend doing it every single day. It's just kind of excessive, but you can automatically run backups. For example, I would just say run every Sunday at 1 a.m. starting tomorrow, and then run again every 1 week. So this will run every Sunday at 1 a.m. until the backup is done. On the next screen, you can tell it to retain backups for a certain amount of time, or you can keep all backups. I don't recommend doing this because then you'll have really old backups and you'll probably fill your destination hard drive pretty quickly. But you can tell it to delete backups that are older than a certain amount of days, weeks, months. I like to keep a specific number of backups. Since I set up my schedule to run once a week, if I choose 3 weeks, it'll keep the last 3 weeks worth of backups and it'll delete the oldest one to make room for the new one. There are advanced options here. There's a ton. I'll show you the drop down menu. There's a ton of stuff you can play with. I'm not going to do any of that right now, but we can click save here. And now our backup is set up. So if we just left it here, it would run tomorrow at 1 a.m. What we want to do though, for the video's sake, is run now. You can see how fast that backed up those 3 files. I mean, they're really small files inside of a small folder. So it'll tell you how long it took to run the backup. It'll tell you when the next scheduled run is, the size of the source files, and then the compressed version of your files. And when I say compressed, they're zipped files. They show up here in the Duplicati folder. This is the one that I created. Yours might be named something different. But these are the zip files. If you click inside of them, they don't make a whole lot of sense to humans, but the software knows how to read them and it'll help you move your files back. Okay, so let's give an example right now. Let's say you had one of your files get corrupted or you accidentally deleted your files. Oh no, what do I do? If you want to get them back, you just open up Duplicati again. And like I said, right click the icon, click open, it'll open up the screen, and then you can come over here to restore. So if you have multiple backup files and they're not showing up down here, you can go look for them and direct restore from those backup files. You can also restore from a configuration. We're not going to show this in this video, but this test backup that we created actually shows up down here. So we're going to click the test backup and click next. and it'll show you the file folder that we backed up and the 3 files that are available to restore. We're just going to go ahead and click restore here for all of them. It'll show you the latest backups and then a few more if you've got more. It goes from 0 up, so it'd be the next one would be 1, the next one would be 2. If you had a file that got corrupted, though, you can just choose the one file to be restored. But we're going to select all of these and click continue. It'll ask you where you want to restore the files to. In our case, we want to restore to the original location because this drive is still attached to my computer. If the drive that you're backing up from has failed and you need to restore the files to a different drive, you can pick the location, hit browse here, and it'll show you the other areas on your computer that you can save to or restore to. But we're going to go ahead and move on. So how do you want to handle existing files? So if the file still exists, but it's corrupted, you can tell the system to overwrite it, or it'll save a second version of the file and it'll have a timestamp in the file name. We're just going to choose overwrite for this one. And then if you are restoring your files, but they had specific security permissions on them, you can click restore read write permissions. It probably doesn't hurt anything to keep doing this unless you're restoring files from a different user, but I would go ahead and check that if it's your own files. And then we're just going to click restore. You've chosen to restore to a new location but not entered one. Oh. Okay, so we just want to do the pick location. No, we want original location. I forgot I clicked on that. Okay, so let's click restore now. All right, our files have been restored successfully. We'll click OK, and then we'll come back in here and we'll see that the files are now back in that folder. And we can open it up and it's not corrupted in any way, shape, or form. It's exactly how I left it in there. But yeah, that's Duplicati. It's pretty simple and straightforward. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you have other software that you want me to take a look at, I'm willing to do a video on all kinds of different software. Hopefully this was educational, and hopefully I earned your subscription today. Thanks for stopping in.